2 days after that first diagnosis, I took ill again, and I was really ill, and I was conscious that I was getting a water infection. I had my district nurse come out, and he took one look at us and he says, "I'm going to call an ambulance here. You're not well." And I was blue lighted into hospital with urosepsis, and I ended up in intensive care, and that was scary. That was really scary, being in that. And I was in hospital a week. But the strange thing with being in intensive care, again, totally different hospital to what I'm normally in.
Yeah.
Not one of my regulars, so I didn't know anybody. But I was the only patient on the intensive care unit
Oh, wow.
that time, and that was the end of July.
And how were they with your stomach care?
They were absolutely brilliant,
Ew.
absolutely. Yeah, there was never an issue with that.
Good.
Even that the whole hospital, I've never had an issue with it, and it's a hospital that's on my doorstep.
Yeah.
It's only 2 minutes away. My usual hospital's 15 miles away.
Right.
I have issues. It's it's strange how it's worked out.
Yeah.
It's 'cause it's in a different catchment area.
Oh,
My
right.
hospitals, the hospitals I go to are not the hospitals I should go to,
Right. Yeah.
but because I've been there since I was born, they've always looked after us,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's just made things easier staying with them
Yeah.
than being transferred to other
Oh,
hospitals. So yeah, had sepsis, which put surgery back 2 or 3 weeks. But again, my surgeon kept his word to it. He says, "We'll get you back in within 3 weeks," which he did. Done the laser surgery, everything going well. And then I started to have problems swallowing in the October. And it's got to a stage where my tablets weren't going down. I could not swallow tablets. I could not eat food. The only thing I could take was liquids. Liquids, that's all I could take.
that's quite a problem.
And that was scary. And it was because of the laser treatment that they had done. There was a lot of scar tissue that built up. So I was admitted to my surgeon's ward, the upper GI ward, and they put the NG tube in through my nose and my stomach. And I had that in for 4 months, and it was horrible. I hated it. And because of the type of food that I was getting, the stomach worked constantly,
Yeah.
all the time. And it was like leak after leak. The bags were just filling up, just one after the other, 24/7. I was just exhausted.
Can
And
imagine.
by December 2020, they said it was time to have radiotherapy. And he says, this is the part that's the important part. This is the beginning of the end of the
Yeah.
cancer, so to speak. He says this is where we're going to absolutely nail it. We're going to throw everything at it, and it's going to. He says, "I'll not lie, it's going to be rough,
Yeah.
but we'll get there." He says, "We'll get through it as a team," and that's all he kept saying. We'll get through it as a team.
That's got to have
And
made you feel a little bit comforted that, people were on your side.
yeah,
People were
and
really rooting for you and really trying.
I met the oncologist for the first time, and we had a big chat about it then. And at the time, I couldn't actually say the word cancer until it had been diagnosed. It was like as if I didn't want to know. I
Yeah.
couldn't accept it.
Yeah.
And the way I put it to the oncologist of how I was feeling, this is my current and past all medical issues and problems that I've got are in a box, neatly in a box that I can cope with. I says, then I've got this C disease, which is a circle, and I'm trying to put that circle into the box so I can cope with it and accept it. But that
You've got
circle is not
control.
going into that box, and I cannot accept it. And he says, in a way, that's a good thing because you want to fight it.
Yeah, he makes a
Says
very good
that's your
point.
way of saying, let's fight this, let's go for it.
Yeah.
So we started radiotherapy mid-December. First week was fine. It was scary because I had this mask on and I had to be pinned down to the machine for 8 minutes each day, and I couldn't move.
I bet
And I
that
kept
was
bringing
kind of a little bit of a trigger from when you were
flashback from when I had my spine surgery.
to weights. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was traumatic, and I needed a lot of psychological support to get through that.
Yeah.
With that,
Well, one of
um,
the things that I'm always really, really proud of you for is you recognize when you're struggling, you acknowledge it, and you reach out every time to
yeah,
get the help that you need psychologically. And I think that's a really big thing for somebody to be able to do, especially over and over again, to be able to say, actually, I was okay for a brief period there, but I'm not okay again. And you've done that
yeah,
countless times whilst I've known you. And I think you should be really, really proud of yourself for that because I think that's
yeah.
amazing.
Even when I retired from work, I asked my GP that I needed help psychologically to come to terms with that
Yeah.
because I didn't know what to do after that. You know, the past 10, 11 years, I had my life, I was working. Suddenly I've got nothing
Yeah.
and I had to
It
readjust.
becomes your identity a little bit, especially when that was one of those very few things that you had control over, and that it
Yeah,
kind of makes you you. It does kind of feed into your identity. So when you lose that, I think it's quite common for people to be a little bit like, "Who am I when I'm not at work?" And you know,
yeah. So yeah, I did get a lot of psychological support back in them days when I left work and I didn't know how to cope with it. And so yeah, that was tough. And but like I said, then radiotherapy got thrown at us. 6 weeks of intensive therapy. First week, I thought this is easy. It's just like going for an X-ray. Then suddenly it hits you. It hits you badly, and the fatigue. I didn't expect fatigue like it. I was sleeping nearly 18 hours a day for 6 weeks, and I had to drag myself out of bed. I think Christmas Day, I was only awake for an hour. I just couldn't. I couldn't cope with it, and that was the only day I had off. I was back on Boxing
wow,
Day from radiotherapy, and
that's a
that
tough
finished
going.
in that finished in the December, mid-January. I was pleased, and then as soon as that finished, I spoke to me with a GI nurse and says, "Radiotherapy is finished now. Can I take the tube out?" And it was a case of no, not yet. Give it another two or
Worth a
three weeks.
try.
Once she's tried, once you start eating again, because I've got to get used to eating. The texture, my stomach's got to get used to having food in it again. She says it's not a case of just taking it out because treatment's finished.
Yeah,
And I
there's
got
every possibility
frustrated.
that if you'd have just gone throwing food in it, that food would have just come throwing back out.
So I had a calendar made up and I counted 3 weeks. And on that third week, and that final day, I rang my nurse up. I says, it's 3 weeks. I've ate this, that, and the other. Can the tube come out? And she went quiet and she says, can you come up to the hospital today? And I went, I'm on my way. I'm leaving now. So off I went to the hospital and they told us that they would do a scan in about 3 months just to make sure the radiotherapy had done its job and there was nothing left to mask the cells. So I had that scan done and got a phone call to say no cells are visible. It looks like we've cracked it. It's been hard work, but they said you've done it. Time to relax. Obviously, be careful with COVID still around, but follow the guidelines. You'll be all right.
Does anybody
And
with cancer really ever feel free though? Because I imagine
no,
you are
it's always
continually, yeah, in the back of your mind, kind of waiting for it to come back. Because it's even like that with IBD, you're going to get another flare, and you live in that constant
yeah,
state of in the back of your mind, when is the next one? And I imagine it's
yeah,
very, very similar when you've had cancer before to kind of expect it to come back again.
Yeah. And I asked the question, I says, well, when will the next scan be, just to make sure. And she says, well, probably review it in about 6 months. But she says, just go away, don't even think about it. Everything will be fine. And then it wasn't 2 or 3 months later, started swallowing issues again, food getting stuck, rang them up. Oh, that's just scar tissue from radiotherapy. We'll bring you straight in, we'll do the stretch, we'll have a good look, not expecting anything. That's all it is. And a week later, got the appointment to go up, have the sedation, have it stretched, had it done, woke up, could swallow no problem, could eat no problem, all good. And then just over a week later, the phone rings. It's my nurse. Can you come up for a chat? We've got the results back and we just need to chat to you. And it'll be easier face to face. And I'm thinking, here we go again. It's come back. And all I kept thinking was, the surgeon kept saying that the first time it was found in its early stages, has the radiotherapy just missed out by a couple of millimeters? And do they just go back for that? Hopefully. And I wasn't worried at that stage. And the next day, went up for the meeting. And that's when they broke the news that the cancer had returned and there was no further treatment available. And I did say, does that mean it's terminal? Which the answer was, yeah. And the emotions, my mum was quite upset. My nurse was trying to console my mum. And all I kept asking questions to my surgeon is, why has this happened? Why has it done this when scans showed that it was gone?
Yeah.
And he says, in very rare occasions, this does happen. And he couldn't answer why it happens. He says, what about surgery? I've read up, you can do surgery, you can take the esophagus out and you make a new one with my stomach. And he says, we've had lots of meetings with various surgeons. If we do surgery, it would be huge. Where the cancer is, it's quite deep into the esophagus. He says, yes, we can remove the esophagus. But he says, you've got all the other complications with your stoma and your stomach. He says, we'd have to remove half of your stomach to make the esophagus. Would have to remove part of the ileum where your stoma is and recite that. Would have to remove your voice box because the cancer's right next to the voice box. There's no room to get round it. Would have to take all that away. All this surgery would need 3 different teams. The surgery would last 24 hours. Would you actually survive 24 hours with all the surgeries you've had in the past? Would your body be able to cope with that? If you did get through it, what would your quality of life be like? You know, it wouldn't be very nice.
It's a massive consideration.
You would need 24-hour care. You would need specialist care.
Yeah.
How long I would survive after that? Would it be 2 or 3 years?
Yeah.
And I had to take all that into account. And he says, if we do nothing now, we can keep it under control for as long as possible. You've got that quality of life to do whatever you want to do. Make the most of what time you have left. And I did ask that question. What is that time limit?
Yeah.
Just so I know what I can do and prepared for. And he says patience in this situation. I would usually give them 2 to 3 years. This is what I want you to do now, is to go in, try and process this news, but also go out there and make as many memories as possible and do whatever you want to do. Do not let anybody stop you. And that's what I've been doing, as you know.
I know that you definitely took that advice on board.
Yeah. Once I got my head around it, I got that emotional support, psychological support, and I got over them barriers. Then I've just put everything into life. And I say, it's been on full throttle. And reflecting back, I've got no regrets. I've achieved so much in life. And I'm very proud of what I've achieved. And I'm very lucky to have the friends that I've got around me, like yourself and your team, especially on a Saturday.
You look forward to seeing you on a Saturday.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very, and I am in a good place. I really am.
Yeah.
I am living life to the full as much as I can.
So we've got
But
like,
on the flip side, I'm very conscious, and my district nurses keep saying that don't take that time limit to heart, because
yeah,
that means nothing
it's
at
only
all.
ever an estimate, definitely.
It's an estimate, and it's come up to 2 years now, and I've been thinking, I've only got 12 months left. I've got to do this, that. And everyone keeps saying, it doesn't work like that.
No.
It does not work like that.
And I think, in all honesty, from your history and how many times now you have defied odds. If anybody's gonna cling on to life to a little bit for that little bit longer to be able to enjoy it and keep going through their bucket list, if anyone's gonna do that, it's gonna be you.
That's it. And strangely enough, 2 weeks ago I had a CT scan because I've had problems swallowing again and getting out of breath. And the day after that scan, I was seeing my infection team for another water infection. And he had some students in, and he says, "Oh, can I show the students the scan I had yesterday?" And yeah. I says, "Come to think of it, I've never seen any of the scans. Can I have a look as well?" And that was the first time that I'd seen proof of the cancer. He showed me where the cancer was. That was tough to begin with. That was really, really tough. Because part of me is sort of being in denial.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't actually physically seen it. It's just what everything has been told to me, and it looks like this and it's that, and it's closing up and the cells are there, but I never actually saw evidence until I saw that scan 2 weeks ago.
And it definitely kind of solidified.
And that's sort of fact. Wow.
So I'm very aware that we've not got a lot of time left, and I want to end this video on a cheery note, Graham.
Yeah.
So tell me in the next 5 minutes about all of these fucking wonderful things you have been doing on your bucket list. And if we can squeeze it in, what is to come?
I have done so much in the space of 6 months. I have drove Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Porsches.
You're a bit of a speed demon, aren't you? Which surprised me.
Yeah. Flown an aeroplane. I've flown a helicopter. I've been on patrol with the police boat people. Having fast rides up the River Tyne that was specially authorised for me. And I made a record. I recorded a song to be played at my funeral. And that has been released as a single, which I'm very proud of.
I'm going to drop the link to that in the YouTube bio thing. I'll make sure that the link to that is in there so that people can go and listen to that. And a couple of articles that have been written about you, because you are a proper media personality now. You were on the radio.
And I've been on the radio few times.
A few
And
times.
I finally got over that taboo of keeping it a secret. I finally got over that and just went public a few years ago. I thought to myself, I've got nothing to lose here. If anyone's got an issue, it's other people, not me.
That's a
I'm
you
proud of
problem.
I am proud of who I am and what I've got and what I've achieved. You know, I'm proud that yes, I do need help with different things in my personal care, but I'm proud. And no nurses are going to tell me otherwise that you should be doing this or you should be doing that. Everybody needs help at
Yeah.
something in life,
And that is a
no matter
very
how personal,
good message to people too.
no matter how personal it is. And
Because it's
these things are
very hard to
personal.
accept that help, but
Yeah,
everybody needs help at some point
yeah,
for something. And it's actually
yeah.
okay to ask for that help
Mm.
or demand it if needed.
And things to come on my bucket list. I'm hoping to go horse riding. I've never been on a horse. I'm trying my hardest to get into a Formula One car. I've been in contact with various people at Silverstone about that, and I'm hoping to get some news pretty soon on that. Anything to do with going fast is the
You
subject.
have you've not done a skydive, have you?
I haven't done a skydive. I'm in talks with my brother about doing that. Um, he's been my right hand man with all these adventures. He's been with us as my support person. He sort of tells me when I'm doing too much and says, "Look,
Which is
take a
another
rest."
thing that we all need sometimes. It's very easy to just
Yeah,
keep plowing on, but take a
yeah.
rest.
And so, and
I know personally that you have been exhausting yourself on occasion.
yeah. And like I said, a couple of months ago, I says to my brother, just for a laugh, let's just jump out of an aeroplane. And he went, really? So he's getting some colleagues at work roped into it as well. And we're going to try and do it for a charity. And so we're in discussions of what we're going to do it for. But I haven't told my parents yet. And I've just heard them come in, so I have to be quiet on that one for now.
Okay.
Because my mom will go berserk. I think she'll only find out once I've done it. I'm just not going to tell her just yet.
Okay. Secret safer, yeah. Oh, Graham, I always enjoy talking to you, but it's been amazing to literally hear your life story. Like I've heard like at random times, like, oh yeah, my feet break all the time. They just snap, or I've been
Yeah.
stretched. All of these
And that's
random.
something we've never even covered. I was off my feet for 12 months. I was off my feet for 12 months. We didn't even cover that.
Oh my
And
God.
but
See, that's because your life has been so full.
that is just a fraction of my life, what I've talked about. The stories I could tell would be just unbelievable.
Do you know what? You keep writing those stories down, and I will keep listening to them. And I was going to say
Yeah,
recording them, but of course, I know you were playing with your own YouTube idea for a while. So, of course, I could just watch
yeah,
them rather than record them. That's fine, also.
yeah. All the camping trips we've done when I was young, it's like, wow, did I really get myself into those situations and their messes?
Yeah, they're the
Yeah,
stories we need to hear.
yeah,
The naughty Graham.
it is. It is.
Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing it with me and anybody else
That's all right.
who might want to watch. And I appreciate you. I'm proud of you, and I'm very thankful that you've shared not only your time with me today, but your time with me every Saturday since COVID.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. Like I say, I've got some very special friends
And we
that
will
I've made
all be staying
since then.
tuned for what's to come next for Graham and his bucket list.
Yes, when you see that headline, here we go. That'll be it.
Okay. Well, I must dash, unfortunately. Otherwise, I would talk to you all day long. Nothing bad, nothing secret that your mum and dad might not need to hear about, though. Dog hair all over me.
Right.
So thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
I love you,
Thank you.
and I will see you
And
soon.
no doubt we'll see you on Saturday.
Yes, no doubt. Bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye bye.